understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
When I eat a brain, I get visions.
Don't ever come back to Gotham.
You have failed this city.
Jesus, what kind of a preacher are you?
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
Because where I'm from, your grandson becomes the greatest hero in the universe.
Now you should at least give a brother a moment to say something heroically clever.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DC TV report for the week ending Saturday, June 29th, 2019. I'm Edward O'Hare, nickname to be determined.
And I'm Sarah Netzley, academic by day, freelance writer by night.
We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
And we've got 3 new episodes this week.
Yes. Hi, Sarah. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm relaxing.
Do you want to tell... Oh, you're like, do you want to tell the people how you misinterpreted my text message from last night?
Well, you could explain. You could explain.
I asked Ed if we could record a little earlier on Saturday because I had a team of teenage boys coming to do some yard work and I needed to supervise. And because Ed has spent a little time with me over the past however long it's been, he assumed I meant supervise. And I legit just meant supervise. So, for the record, they're clearing brush on the backyard without my watchful gaze upon them. So,
yes. 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 Yeah. It took everything not to go back. You're the worst. To text back. You're the worst.
I would have worn it as a badge of pride.
Are you going to be upset if they keep their shirts on?
I will be grateful for everybody's sake, although it is very hot, so they need to do what they need to do for hydration purposes. But like sunblock, skin cancers, melanoma is a concern. So you know. Mm-hmm. You know. So Ed, 4th of July is coming up. Hey, you got some time off work? You gonna do something fun?
Yeah, actually. So every year on 4th of July, my family and I usually try and fail to find a local barbecue. Sometimes we'll end up at an uncle's house. But we usually make a point.
Wait, so do you rove around looking for invitations to places? Just like, hey, you got any plans? You got room for a couple more?
Yeah, lately that's been like in my family. It's like, you want to call Uncle Chris, see if he's doing anything, or like, do we want to drive down to Jersey to visit Aunt Carrie? You know, what's up? And I would love to do either of those things. But it's always this
Aunt Carrie, if you're listening.
Yeah. It's always this last minute thing of like, oh yeah, we should probably meet up with family today. But one thing that we usually try to make a point of doing is at some point during the day we will watch the wonderful musical from 1972, 1776, starring William Daniels and Howard Da Silva and Ken Howard.
Saltpeter.
John.
That's a great musical. That's good music.
Yes.
And it's so 70s. I mean, it's it's delightful on so many levels.
Yes. My freshman year of high school, that was the first play I was ever in. I played Judge Wilson. And that kind of started the acting bug, and that got me into high school speech and debate. So and so I know that show backwards and forwards. But also I have a bunch of friends who are in a community theater production of it playing that weekend. So I will get to see 1776 live. I don't think I'll see it.
That's fun.
Yeah, I don't think I'll see it on the 4th, but I will get to see it, and I'm really looking forward to that. So if you happen to be in Staten Island, go to the Richmond Town Courthouse that weekend. So yeah, that's what I'm up to.
Nice.
Do you have 4th of July plans?
We are having people over. because we have a good view of my town's fireworks from the balcony of our house. So I have maybe over-invited. I've been maybe a little too ambitious with my guest count. So we'll see. I gave in and called a catering company and said, yeah, can I just come pick up meat from you? Just meat. So much meat. And they said yes. So that's how I'm coping. Meat and vodka.
Okay. Yeah,
it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. And this weekend is the pinballing. We're getting a bunch of the machines we've been ordering over the past year, all being delivered tomorrow. So look on my social media accounts for pictures of the pretty lights and music.
Cool. That's something to look forward to.
Yeah, we're very excited. It's been a long time we've been waiting. So
yeah. Now, really quick, I know this is starting to become a normal feature, but our buddy Thomas did send us another email.
I'm real close to coming up with some kind of clever name for this segment, so Thomas Talk.
Well, yeah,
Thomas from Thomas.
Yes, Thomas. He's getting a little snippy. Not gonna lie. He starts off, "Dear Ed, I only ramble because I drink a shot for every you use."
Oh, burn!
So, shots fired. That's fine. All right. I see how it is. Sarah in New York in July. Bring deep dish with you. New York pizza is just saltine crackers for crust. How dare you?
Thank you for confirming what I believe.
How dare you? No, it's God. Ugh. I mean, trust me, New York, there's a lot of pizza, which means there's also a lot of mediocre pizza. But like when you get real good thin crust made with bread flour, it's really something special. What else? Thomas goes on. Too bad for Vertigo. Does this mean mine will go up in value? It's not really how it works, but maybe, I don't know. Krypton. Did Sarah say Krypton was fun? I seem to recall Sarah saying this was not her show at all.
So it's still like 70% not my show, but this week, and we'll talk about this, anytime they did an overhead shot of trees outside, I was like, oh, thank God, we're going back to the storyline I'm interested in.
What else? Strange how Ed and Sara are both turned on by Superboy's biceps. Was this a shout out for Pride Month? No, sorry to disappoint. It's a little awkward because I'm not gay. I just happen to be comfortable enough with my sexuality to acknowledge when another man has attractive features.
Look, if in the week of the independence of our country, we can't say to ourselves as Americans that Superman and all of his corollaries, clone or otherwise, has bitchin' biceps. What are we even doing here? We as Americans celebrate the superseps. So, also happy Pride.
Sure. Did Pennyworth 35 days, 14 hours, 55 minutes. He gives this plot description of The Boys, which is an Amazon show that's based on a Garth Ennis comic book. I guess he's asking if we're gonna cover The Boys, and I'm sorry, unfortunately we're not. Because it is a comic book, but it's not a DC comic. Sorry.
But I feel like we're gonna sneak in conversations about it during the top of the show while it's running. Probably.
Probably, yes. Yeah. And his winner for the week was the homeless woman who got Kate Kane's watch in the teaser.
Yeah, that's fair.
Thank you, Thomas. I think we're ready to jump right into the recaps, right, Sarah?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right, first up, Krypton. Season 2, Episode 3, Will to Power. Seg wandered with Adam through the Kolu forest in a race to remove Brainiac from his brain before Lobo could catch up with them. Lyta asked Druzad to send her to lead the assault on Wegthor, as the rebels seem to completely trust Nissa's intel. Jaina tried to convince a dejected Dev M to help her try to defeat her grandson. Last minute reveal, happy they weren't dead, Seg and Adam began their trek through the snow to Kandor to begin their superhero work.
Goodbye, forests of Kolu. I'll miss you. You were refreshing. You were green and beautiful. And when you came on screen, I perked up and said, I'm going to start paying attention again. And now I don't have that anymore. Dang it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was definitely the most exciting part of these episodes. Now, Sarah, I hate to be a little bit of a downer, but that might be the last we've seen of Lobo this season.
Yeah, and honestly, I enjoyed Lobo, but he strikes me as somebody who's probably better in small doses. It's like when you clamor for the secondary character to get his own show, and he does, and it's like, oh, maybe I didn't want that. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen with Lobo, since the spinoff, as far as we know, is still in the works, but that's okay. I really enjoyed him. I don't want him to overstay his welcome. He went out with a literal bang, not the, but the other, like that was great. That was good stuff. So I don't know. Are you going to miss him? Do you think that the season will be worse for not having him, or do you feel like that was your Lobo capacity?
Yeah, I'm going to miss him. I thought he was a great character. I thought he brought a lot of energy to this show,
Mm-hmm.
but in the end, I don't think he mixes as well with the overall storyline. And I'm sure he'll come back by the end of the season, but if we get a little bit of a break from him, I would not be surprised.
Yeah, same. I'd like to see him again. I don't want him gone forever. I super enjoyed him. I am definitely going to miss him, but I don't know how sustainable that would have been all season long. I'm just glad for the Lobo we got. And his scenes this week were fabulous, of course.
Yes, yeah. Our executive producer, Bill Sweeney, told me that he watched this episode after I explained to him some of the things that Lobo did, and he fast-forwarded through everything just to get to the Lobo scenes.
That's kind of what Jason did. He was gone when I watched it, and I was like, okay, listen, you just need to see this one scene. Here you go. We're good. So...
Yes. And that one scene where Lobo literally blows his head off, and then he starts growing out of his arm. And to see just the torso of Lobo choking out Adam Strange.
Yes. Oh, poor Adam Strange. What a bad day that guy's having. And he tries to be brave, then he realizes, oh, I'm so boned. His reactions, Sean Sipos' reactions were really, really funny this week. Just very, very quiet, silent facial takes as Lobo was doing his Lobo thing. It was good stuff. I also like very much that Lobo is so cool that he can blow his head off. He's dead, but he still manages to like wave jauntily as his body falls. He's so cool. So cool. Because most people, if you like, if you're dead, I feel like you could just lose control of your bladder. That's what you do. Not Lobo. Lobo gives you a little wave. He's still sassing you in death. So great.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about. Oh, go ahead.
There was other stuff that happened in this episode. What did you...
Oh, before we move past that, I want to talk about Cameron Cuff being so good as Brainiac Seg.
That's what I was about to get to.
Okay, great. Oh, sorry.
Yes,
I should have trusted you. Trust your partner. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to talk about Seg and his psychological battle with Brainiac.
I feel like that's bringing a fly swatter to a bazooka fight, but okay.
But yeah, I thought that was really cool, and I thought that really gave it a Superman feel to it of just this, this battle of wills, and that's really kind of what a good Superman Brainiac story does. It's Brainiac is just this unrelenting force who's just demands to have the knowledge and information, and Superman is the person who's fighting up for people, saying that this form of enslavement is, even if it is eternal, is not worth it, and how he speaks up for people with emotions and dreams. And I thought that battle of wills was really cool. Yeah,
I just like the way his eyes got black and he struggled with not being brainiac.
Yeah. Speaking of Adam Strange, like, not, I feel like he should have been able to better tell when Seg was in control of his body.
I can't quite get a grasp on his power set, and obviously he doesn't have powers, but I feel like he should be a little savvier about things like that. He's a man of the universe, all times and locations. I don't know. Pick up on context cues a little better there, Adam. But no, I thought that was a lot of fun for the actor. I always enjoy acting challenges like that for characters that we see week in and week out. So I thought that was just a lot of fun to watch. And for me, the shape-shifting through all the people in his life, and hey, there's his buddy from Krypton who we haven't seen in a while. So that was fun. That was good stuff. I guess we paid that actor this week. So congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of Kem, we got to see the real life Kem and what he's up to with the rebels.
He's going to war in a jaunty cape.
and yeah, Nyssa, man, she got around.
Good for her. Get it, girl.
Yeah, and you could tell she's still feeling really guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the thing, and it's the longer it goes, the worse it's gonna be. The worse it's gonna be. Yep.
I like that even in the settings that she's in, she is clearly the shiniest, cleanest, fanciest person in the environs. Like, no matter how grubby you make her, she is never actually grubby. She clearly is from the elite class. Good for her.
Yeah, and she is going through all of this, but she met up with Remy and still got laid. So, it's not a completely lost cause.
I'm saying, Nyssa, get it, girl. Push that guilt aside. It's fine.
Lyta convincing Druzad to send her to Wake Thor. I don't think that was a tough sell.
Nope.
But real question here. When she and Druzad met and they shared this green liquid, Sarah, what do you think the odds are that was just Gatorade?
Well, now that you've mentioned it, I think it's pretty good. It's important to keep those electrolytes up. So, and Druzad knows that. I was going to ask you a question. Is that the first time we've seen them hug?
It might be. It
felt wrong. Like that's an awkward mother-son hug. No.
Yeah, I mean, Kryptonians don't seem to be affectionate to begin with.
They're not a touching people. You're correct.
No. And it's still weird that he regards her as his mother, yet still she's his subordinate. Which is just the whole Zod family situation is just weird.
You said a mouthful.
And and then Jaina and Dev-Em trekking through the mountains together.
Yep, they did that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's also this weird kind of thing, the way Jaina is sort of taking care of Dev-Em. It's weird, like, hey, I'm hanging with my daughter's ex now. I don't know. I was getting some weird chemistry vibes off them.
I'm into it.
Yeah. But seriously, Jaina thinks that Dev-Em can help her infiltrate Kandor and take back the throne away from Druzad. I think that seems a little more difficult to accomplish than she thinks.
Well, I mean, you gotta have a plan, right? But yeah, no, I agree. That feels a little. I will be curious to see what aid she enlists in that quest. Maybe that'll be the next thing that we are watching unfold. I guess we'll see.
Maybe. All right. Anything more you wanted to talk about with this episode?
if this is really the end, goodbye, Lobo.
Yeah. I don't think it will. I mean, they haven't said that, but like, if they wanted to end it here, they could.
Yeah, it felt like, oh, I know what I was going to say. Also with the Brainiac stuff, at one point he does ask in that Mind Palace, what do you desire? And did that feel like an intentional Lucifer shout out? DC to DC. I mean, he said, what do you desire? Sorry, that's Lucifer's line. So that felt intentional. That's all.
Yeah. I don't think it was, but
let me have this, Ed.
But you're right. It was definitely reminiscent of it. All right. Was there any news for Krypton?
Nope.
Mm-hmm. All right. Moving on to iZombie. Season 5, Episode 9, The Fresh Princess. Liv topped a Lunchables pizza with the brain of a 90s beauty queen. Major and Fillmore Graves were searching for Sloane Mills, who was being held captive in a porta potty by Dolly and the Deadenders. Martin stayed at Liv's house and got to know all of her friends as she nursed him back to health. Ravi followed an evidence trail in a hunt to locate Beanpole Bob, the creator of the utopium that started the zombie outbreak. Last minute reveal, Ravi and Peyton figured out that Beanpole Bob was Liv's father.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, are we supposed to trust Martin or are we supposed to not trust Martin?
We're not.
Because I don't trust Martin.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, no.
I didn't know if we were supposed to be coming around on him at all because I am not.
Yeah, no, we're not trusting Martin.
Okay, all right, good. Okay.
Liv might be trusting Martin, but we are not trusting Martin.
Okay, I wasn't sure if the show was trying to lead us down that path and I was just digging in my heels like, nope, I don't trust that hairline. I don't trust him. So.
Mm-hmm. I don't think Liv's mom still trusts him.
I mean, she got reasons.
yeah. I actually thought it was interesting. I mean, the one thing I that didn't come up in the recap, but is a huge part of that storyline, is that, you know, Liv's mom shows up and says, "Hey, your brother's sick and he needs to get out of Seattle." I'm actually kind of surprised that Evan didn't opt for the scratch, although it seemed, it seems like he wasn't his decision. It seems like he was deferring to mom, but I'm surprised that they didn't drag that out a little bit more.
That, I think in a show that had more episodes, that would have been at least a 3-episode thing. The should I, maybe I shouldn't, I'm close to deciding, no, maybe not. But yeah, you're right. That was the Liv family stuff. I felt like it came up kind of abruptly. I understand now why, because you've got the dad thing and now you've got mom and brother back, and I'm enjoying it now. I think a little more gradual ramp up might have been good, but you know, we're doing what we do in the last season, and that's fine. I think giving the brother the scratch and watching her help him transition would have been really interesting. But still, it's good to see him. I'm sorry that he's sick as a result of the meet cute explosion. Is that a thing that happens to people? Or is that a TV thing that happens to people?
I think that's a TV thing.
Okay, fair enough. Good enough.
But that's fine. But now, you know, we know that Martin is Beanpole Bob, but also Ravi and Peyton know that Martin is Beanpole Bob. Yeah. So this is going to be trouble. This is going to be awkward. I loved Ravi and Peyton investigating together. I thought that was really cool.
They were cute.
Yes, and this was by far one of Blaine's funniest moments in the history of the series.
Yes.
When they're searching, and what's funny is we know that Blaine is living in that basement, and they don't. So just seeing them and Ravi admiring the furniture and the layout,
Blaine being like, "No, take you backsies." Have I mentioned that we have that light fixture, that Sputnik light fixture in? Oh yeah, yeah. Every time it's on there, I'm like, yeah, I know where they got that. So do we.
That's cool. That's cool. But just that moment where it's pitch black and Ravi's roaming the flashlight around and it just lands on Blaine, who's perfectly still, and then just says, "You guys are really bad at this."
I like those three together, and I super love that. no longer the mayor, made promises knowing she's no longer the mayor, and she's just like, "Yep, sorry, Blaine." Really funny.
Yeah, and it is, it's sad for Peyton, but she admitted she made her own bed and she knew that was going to happen.
And honestly, she did it for the greater good, and it seems to me that when history writes this chapter in Seattle lore, she'll come across really well. She did what she had to do, and good for Peyton.
Yeah, and I wonder now, does this mean Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is going to be the mayor? Is that what's next up? Is that
he's got my vote? Kareem for mayor. Kareem for everything. Do we want to talk about Liv?
Yeah, that's right. Liv was on beauty pageant queen brain.
Okay, I was a little disappointed because this had two things that should have been catnip for me, which is beauty queen brain and 90s brain, and it could have been more somehow, and it
did feel a little generic.
Yeah, thank you. That was my problem. It was just teen girl. I don't know. Maybe nothing is ever going to live up to the car salesman brain. I'm still riding that high from last week. But the music was on point. Okay, Ed, once upon a time, there was a group called the Spice Girls. They were very powerful. And then other girls listened to artists like Sean Colvin, whose Sunny Came Home was featured very heavily in the end of the episode and also delighted me greatly. So those were the musicians we were exposed to. So the music was on point. But yeah, when I read the description, I was like, oh, bring it. And then it didn't really, I guess. But I thought it was a clever way to get to a 90s brain with the coma like that. That was smart and fun, and I appreciate the show bending over backwards to make that happen for us. So good work. And I will say, I think it was, I can't remember, Clive maybe, who asked Liv, how much sugar have you had? And she just replied, lots. That was funny.
Yeah. I definitely saw the clueless homages. I thought that was really cool, and I thought that the sting that they do at the end, where they trick the confession out of the mother, I thought that was some of the best detective work that we've seen on the show in a while.
Also, the best use of VHS tapes in ages on any show.
Yeah. It was really enjoyable. Less enjoyable.
Oh, I know what you're going to pivot to.
Sarah, Dolly is the worst.
Ed, she ruined pies. How dare you, Dolly? Bringing pies into your evil schemes? Leave the piesta alone.
Yes. Yeah, and I mean, the more upsetting is it was Pie Day, and they did not mention math at all.
Well, you were upset about the lack of math.
Because I always thought Pie Day was March 14th. Like that was the whole. That was the whole point. You have pie on Pie Day, and you talk about irregular numbers with your 8th grade math teacher, Mrs. D. Yeah. So yeah, that's what happens there. But Major doing some detective work of his own, trying to find Sloane. And Sloane, unfortunately, is raged out in a porta potty with her friend, and Dolly just unleashes them. And yeah, these dead enders need to be stopped. They need to be stopped.
They're smart, though. That was a good plan.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say it. That was some good evil.
It was.
That was clever and upsetting. And we don't usually see that level of zombie horror on this show, and so that was different and unexpected, and I enjoyed it because I'm a zombie movie fan. So that was fun. I thought the body count was actually really low, so good for them. But poor Major having to pull the trigger, knowing what it means, but you got to do it. I feel like every week there's something he does that makes me say, poor Major. Here, sit next to me. I'll bring you some milk. I'll pet your hair. You've had a rough day. Poor Major.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And especially it's interesting to see his character's growth because he was making the same kinds of hard decisions, I feel like, for the past 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
But he was making the wrong decisions, and those tough choices were turning him into a bit of a bad guy. And it seems like he's having to make the same hard choices, but for the right reasons. And I like that character growth.
Me too. I was a little frustrated with Major. His whole character arc hasn't been the best necessarily the last couple seasons. They finally have found purpose for him and really are moving him in a good, interesting direction. I still don't like the beret, but that's okay. I'll allow it. But yeah, no, that was a strong way to end the episode, I thought, and there will be repercussions, I'm sure. So,
yeah. Any other big takeaways from this episode? Anything that is there something I'm forgetting? I feel like there's something I might be forgetting.
I'm scanning. Nope, that covers all of my notes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, just really quick. Donnie's bad hair day, and we found out his brother's name is Scott.
Scotty. That's right. Yeah, Donnie's character growth continues to delight me as well, and he and Darcy seem to be going strong.
Yeah.
So good for the kids. Good for those two.
Good for them. Good for them. I hope it works out. I know it won't, but I hope it works out.
I hope it works out with him and the terminal girl. Oh.
All right. Was there any news for iZombie?
Nope.
All right. Moving on to our final episode for this week, Swamp Thing. Season 1, Episode 5, Drive All Night. Abby discovered that Maria was being influenced by a ghost claiming to be Shauna that had taken possession of Susie. A phantom stranger befriended the Swamp Thing and showed him how the trees can share their memories with him. Avery learned from Lucilia that Liz was pushing hard for an investigation into Alec Holland's death. Jason Woodrue went to Alec's lab looking for more samples like the one Abby showed him. Daniel Cassidy still could not leave Murray without bursting into blue flames. Last minute reveal, Avery and Maria Sunderland had a stare down at the hospital.
I was honestly happy for you, Ed, because we got a little more explanation about why Ian Ziering's character is still hanging around Murray. when we had that reveal, I was like, oh, Ed's gonna be so excited. So, congratulations to you.
Yes. Yeah. We actually get to see the Blue Devil costume. And she's insane. I can't believe that they're throwing that out there. And it's a really small part of the episode, but I think it is interesting that just kind of like the whole Faustian element to this, and that he is this big superstar actor who cannot leave the town, and he just knows that it has something to do with Abby. I think that's an interesting story.
And she's here now. Let me go. Nope. You got burned.
But the real okay, Sarah.
Uh-huh.
The person who hung out with Swamp Thing at the beginning of this episode described himself as a phantom stranger. Sarah, are you familiar with the Phantom Stranger?
No, please explain this to me. And I'm being genuine with this.
Okay, so this is a little weird because this character has been around a long time and had a bunch of iterations.
Anytime you start anything with Swamp Thing as this is a little weird, that makes me nervous because Swamp Thing is a little weird. So if there's something within Swamp Thing that's even weirder, hold on to your butts. Okay, continue.
Okay, so the Phantom Stranger is one of the characters in DC's horror pantheon. He is a mysterious person. He's usually much more, tall, dark, and handsome. He usually has gray hair, and he wears a long, flowing blue cloak and a blue, fedora hat. And he has, white gloves and sunglasses, I believe. So absolutely nothing like the person that we saw in this episode.
Yeah, you are correct.
But his basic kind of theme is he's an immortal who has this mysterious background that no one's quite sure of. But whenever there's something mystical going on, he will show up and he will never directly interfere, but he will sort of point people in the right direction or give them a sense of what's going on so that they can solve the problem. That Madame Xanadu Vertigo series that I keep talking about that was written by Matt Wagner and drawn by Amy Reeder Hadley. He was a prominent character who was following Madame Xanadu, over the course of the 1,000 years of her life. And this is a similar type thing. So yeah, basically, the Swamp Thing is just gained sentience, and he's doesn't know quite how to interact with his environment. So Phantom Stranger shows up, just basically like, the trees can talk to you and they can share their memories, and you can connect with the green. And this is really important because the green is a very important concept of Swamp Thing, and I think this is a good, clear, cogent explanation of it. Is that it's this life force that binds all of plant life together. And Swamp Thing is an avatar that the green uses to protect itself.
Also, Abby will like you more. So, Okay, no, that's great. Thank you. That kind of pulls some things together for me. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And I wonder if we'll see the Phantom Stranger pop up sometime sooner or in a different form. I don't know. But I thought his entrance was really cool, where it's like Swamp Thing's kind of notices him and is kind of hiding. He's like, so what's the fishing like around here? Cool.
Yeah, he was the one person who I was like, oh, don't go in the swamp. You seem nice. Usually we start with reprobates in the swamp, and I'm like, yeah, take them. It's fine. Take them. Let the swamp take them. But glad he made it.
Yeah, and what did you think of Swamp Thing can now, tap into the trees and see their memories of those visions that he was being shown?
It feels like a way to... That felt inevitable. That felt comic booky and inevitable, and those are compliments. That, of course, he needs that power. There has to be some way for him to have a bigger mystical connection with the area. He is the Swamp Thing. So, yeah, I'm pleased to see it. And we finally got to see what really went down with Abby back in the day and Shauna. And I loved the classic fake out, like, oh, it was kind of Abby's fault, maybe. Oh, psych! No, it wasn't. So, yeah. Well plotted.
Yeah. And speaking to it, do you think that thing that's trying to call out to Maria Sunderland actually is Shauna?
I don't. I agreed with what you said in the recap that you read, that it is some sort of mimic that presumably finds people's weakness or obsessions and drives them that way. That's what I think. Although Shauna herself seems like she was kind of a dick. So maybe it's Shauna. Like, maybe in death, Shauna's still terrible. But dang, that scene in her bedroom with Susie and then the ghosts and the hallucinations, that was scary.
Yeah, I don't think she was evil. I think she was just a rich brat. I think there's a difference.
Is there? Is there?
Otherwise, I think Maria needs help, and I think all of this is Madame Xanadu's fault. It seems like she's playing with stuff she doesn't really understand, and I think that's Someone needs to look up what Xanadu and say, what's going on here. All right.
But I thought all those scenes were effective, were scary, and boy, you can't rattle Abby Arcane for anything. She's like, oh, ghost of my dead friend trying to kill me? Nah, we're not doing this, ghost. I'm out. Jeez, she's amazing. What do they teach you at CDC school? She's just like, nope. You can't scare me, ghost.
Yeah, I think all of a sudden having the guy you were kind of into getting swallowed up by the swamp and turned into a monster, I think after you kind of lock into that premise, nothing else seems impossible.
you don't even blink at the other stuff.
Moving on to Avery Sunderland and Lucilia finding out that that's a thing.
So here's the comment. Here's Sarah's comment that's going to make Ed uncomfortable. TM. When Avery's like, "What? You're leaving? I got the hotel for the day." Avery, you're like 80. Yeah. What do you mean you're like? Isn't that it? Like, I assume you're not a 16-year-old boy. So like, okay. I was just anyway.
Yeah, but he's a rich guy.
Yes.
He's a rich guy, it's...
What's that? It's just biology. But yeah, that was a surprise. That was an unpleasant surprise. Lucilia, you can do better, girl.
Yeah.
Also, the most horrific thing this show has shown us is Avery Sunderland making turtle soup. Oh my god.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
In a show of horrors, that took the cake.
Like, now I want to go on Food Network to see, like, okay, how exactly do you butcher a turtle? Like, what's...
Please don't Google that. I feel like you're going to really regret it.
all of a sudden, I end up on an endangered species watch list.
That's right. PETA is actually on his way to your house right now. I'm very sorry. It was good knowing you. Now accepting applications for a new co-host. Ed's going to PETA jail.
So yeah, and that storyline led to a couple of revelations, which is like now Liz Tremaine has the Sunderlands on her tail. She's gonna have to watch out for that, but also
but she can handle herself in a fight, for the record. I'm sorry, continue.
Oh yeah. I thought that was really cool. That was refreshing to see. Yeah. But also Lucilia started looking into Alex's murder, and once she ended up killing Remy Dubois right after he told her that her son is somehow involved in this.
Mm-hmm. And she, cool as a cucumber, held up that newspaper to keep the blood and gunpowder splash off of her and just took care of business. Don't mess with those swamp ladies.
Yeah, that was an intense scene. So lot to think about there. Also, like the idea that she could just come up with $50,000 on a sheriff's salary, I find that laughable.
Like a small town shit. Like, I assume Murray doesn't have a big budget, so yeah. I will say I had a moment in this episode watching Swamp Thing carry Maria out of the swamp where it felt like he was cheating on Abby. Like, carrying women, he should carry Abby. Nobody else. No carrying other women. Those swampy arms are for Abby.
What would you prefer? He drag Maria out by the scruff of her neck?
Yes. Grab her by an ankle, just tow her in your wake. That's your throw her over your back like a like a stray pair of pants you toss over your shoulder to, just like that tender cradling is for Abby and Abby alone. Also, I love how much Swamp Thing hates Matt. I could live on him standing in the sidelines just glaring at that handsome sheriff deputy while he talks to Abby.
Like, all of a sudden he just hears him calling and goes, oh, this fucking guy.
Exactly. I just want a scene of that in every episode. Also, this was episode 5, right?
Yes, it was.
So we're halfway done.
Oh, man. We're halfway. Oh, man.
This is such a fun show. By the way, there is not much news for this show, but one news article I found was somebody saying, hey, they're naming all these episodes after Bruce Springsteen songs.
Oh, you saw that too.
I didn't think I needed to say it, but yeah, they are. Like, I thought that's not really news. It's just what they're doing. So anyway.
It's a weird choice. Darkness on the Edge of Town.
Doesn't he belong to you and your people, Ed?
He's from Jersey, which is like adjacent. Like Staten Island is, it might as well be Jersey. But
I mean, it's more your people than my people.
yes,
My people
yes.
have, I don't know, Nelly? I don't know.
Yes. I have family and a lot of friends in New Jersey, and if a New Yorker would try to claim Springsteen, there would be a knife fight.
Really?
Just,
Okay.
yes.
And I'm just lumping you
Yes.
all into vague East Coast big city.
Yeah, Jersey is very, very attached, and they're very territorial about two things, about Bruce Springsteen and John Bon Jovi. Like those they are Jersey guys. They want
Why a Louisiana show then? That's so confusing.
Yeah, I feel like they might have just done it with one song by accident.
And then this was like, into it.
Yeah, and then like, oh, that's weird. That happens to be a Springsteen song. And then they just, and I
guess that's what we're doing now.
So yeah. Was there any other news for Swamp Thing?
Little bit. Just that a Cinema Blend article sort of clarified how involved James Wan actually has been with Swamp Thing as a series. And it sounds like, he wasn't actually there. He was doing Aquaman. He's doing other things. But the showrunners would get in touch and say, okay, here's what we're thinking about doing here. What do you think about that? And he'd say, okay, that's cool. But what if you did this? And his suggestions were always cooler. So even though he wasn't physically present, he wasn't directing anything, his aesthetic really came through because they'd say, here's where we are. What do you think? And he'd be like, okay, this. Yes, and this. So that's why maybe we have such great, disgusting, clever, interesting, unusual components of this, because you do have James Wan, who's more than just producer in name. So.
All right. That's cool. That's good to know. It's good to know. Yeah. All right. Is that it for Swamp Thing? Are we ready to move on?
That's it for Swamp Thing. Yep.
All right. News for other shows.
Okay, a little bit of news for The Flash. We have some casting information. They're looking to cast a socially awkward black scientist who's a math genius who is obsessed with aliens and alien tech. Now, a couple of things there. The alien thing is really interesting because The Flash is the metahuman show, and Supergirl is the alien show. So my thought, and Ed, we didn't really talk about this as we were running down off air before, but is Supergirl going to come? Is the crisis going to collapse everybody so they're on the same world? And are we going to have more aliens? And is this helping to integrate some of those, do you think? Like planting those seeds early? Is that a possibility?
Ooh, I think that's definitely possible. Definitely possible. One person who surprisingly has not shown up on Supergirl yet, who, I mean, I think it would be interesting to see. It doesn't quite fit that mold, but it's very close. Would be John Henry Irons, also known as Steel, who is an African American. He's an engineer who creates a steel Superman suit, and was not immortalized by the 90s film called Steel, starring Shaquille O'Neal.
Just so we're clear.
The one DC movie that no one ever mentions, like that's kind of just like fallen out of his, like really just kind of like, oh yeah, that was the thing, like even more than Halle Berry's Catwoman. But he is an interesting one of my favorite characters, and I'd be very interesting. I don't think it's going to be him, but if it is, that would be very cool.
Well, I will be curious too, and that's the other point of my thought on this is we talked last season a lot about, is Cisco going to leave the show? Does he want out of his contract, Carlos Valdez? So, could this be a replacement if that character / actor does end up leaving or stepping back? That feels like a help wanted ad that Star Labs would put out that would bring somebody in to replace Cisco if he was going to go on a walkabout. We don't have any news to that effect. I don't think he's leaving the show. I think he's on board still. It's just that some of the writing direction and episodes leading up to it might make one think that he was going to, and that this then could be a replacement character. I don't think that's what's happening here. But while we're doing wild speculation, it could be the case if that's where they were going. I just don't think that's where they are. So anyway.
We'll see. I guess we'll find out.
We'll see. Let's see. Next show, Legends of Tomorrow. Showrunner Phil Klemmer, when asked in an interview, said, "We're planning on many multiple children in season 5. The interviewer, who was not me but could have been, said, "Are you kidding?" And he said, "Not a joke, totally for real." So many multiple children in season 5. And Ed, I gotta say, I hate it. I mean,
we don't know the concept.
I know, I trust Legends. It's my favorite of the DC shows, but my feelings on adorable Muppets are well documented. So
maybe they just have to round up all their younger selves and send them on a mission.
Okay, that could be fun. Actually, you know what? That feels like something Legends would do, and I would love it. And in that case, I'll apologize to everybody on this show. But yeah, many multiple children. Moving on to Stargirl.
Stargirl music.
Leah Thompson directed an episode of Stargirl. She shared on social media that she recently wrapped. She had some behind the scenes photos, one with her and Luke Wilson. Looks like maybe she directed episode 7, which would be about halfway through the 13 episode proposed run. Leah Thompson apparently has some directing experience. She's done episodes of Goldberg, Schooled, Mom. So she's kind of a sitcom director. But yeah, was like celebrity Mad Libs. Fill in the blank 80s actress directs an episode of fill in the blank comic TV show on fill in the blank network. And I'm not sure I ever would have gotten to Leah Thompson direct Stargirl for DC Universe, but here we are. 2019 is wild.
Yeah, that's cool. I'd be interested to see that. I heard her. She was on an episode of Nerdist a few years ago, and she's a really fun person.
She's one I genuinely like and root for, and I'm one of the people who watched basically every episode of Caroline in the City. So yay, Leah Thompson. And I do kind of love an actor who goes on to direct. I always think that's kind of cool that you parlay your experience like that. So yeah. And also I think it's good that Stargirl's still on track. I still was with the Swamp Thing and with the DC Universe future always up for debate. It's nice to hear news about Stargirl because it makes me think we're actually going to get to see it. So yay. Next bit of news, Preacher. We have a new poster and a new teaser for the upcoming season of Preacher. We still don't have a full trailer. The teaser is still very lights and sound and more style than substance. The poster has everybody sort of cracked and bloody and flaming, and the tagline is, "It all goes to hell in the end." So looks like they're kind of teasing the end of the world. Hell stuff, demon stuff, devil stuff. If you've read the comics, that might make you say, "Oh, okay." And if you haven't, probably it will also make you say, "Yeah, no, that feels right." So, but it looks so stylish and so cool. I just wish they'd give us a little bit more content to go on, but it's not August yet. We'll get there.
Yeah, there's only 5 weeks left. 5 weeks, Sarah.
Ed, stop it! This timer is going so fast. So fast. I want to slow down. Okay. Also, the actors who play Featherstone and Saint of Killers have wrapped shooting on the show for good. So some of those secondary characters on their social media accounts, Julie Emerson and why am I blanking on the Saint of Killers name? And Lucifer and Outlander. You know who I'm talking about. Sorry, Scottish guy. Forgot your name. This is where Bauerfett right now is screaming in his living room because he knows the name and he could if he could reach through and tell us, he could. Yeah. Anyway, they have wrapped shooting, so it looks like they're wrapping on secondary characters. Looks like Dominic Cooper, for example, who plays Jesse Custer, is still shooting. He posted recently something about night shots. So it's winding down, but it's not done yet. But yeah, that's where we are on Preacher.
Yeah.
And moving on to Pennyworth.
Pennyworth music.
Which is a show that is happening. EW.com has a short little video with a little bit more information on Thomas Wayne's character. So if you go to EW.com and look for Thomas Wayne teaser, probably ought to do it. But it looks like he is in England, sort of undercover. He's pretending he's a financial advisor of some sort, but he's got some other covert mission and he needs protection. He needs a bodyguard, and he finds Alfred to guard his body. And the most notable thing for me was that the actor who plays Thomas Wayne is super British, and he is playing an American. So in the clips in the show, he's very American, and then behind the scenes interviews, he's very posh British, like many of my friends. So
exciting. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
And finally, Watchmen. It has. Oh, yeah, go.
Graham McTavish plays the Santa Killers.
Thank you. All I could come up with was Ian Glenn, but that's who's playing Bruce Wayne in Titans. Different British actor, Graham McTavish.
And which are we doing now?
Watchmen.
Watchmen.
Just quick little update. It apparently has wrapped filming. We don't have an official statement from HBO or the show, but multiple social media accounts of crew members show wrap parties and kind of like, we're done with season 1. It's been great kind of posts. So it sounds like Watchmen is done with the filming, and now we just wait for the premiere.
And that's a show we still really have no idea what that's going to be. Like that's
Mm-hmm. I feel like I could make a guess based on the teasers and things that we've seen. I feel like we could probably make a pretty educated guess. But if I know one thing about Damon Lindelof and HBO, it's that we might think we know, and it could very easily be in the opposite direction or exactly, not what we're expecting. So I will be curious if we ever get a more straightforward trailer, or if it is going to just be sort of these hints and little flashes of imagery, and that's it. TikTok. I don't know.
TikTok. All right. Cool. That's all the news?
That is it for the news.
Wow. Okay. So that means now it's time for our winners of the week.
Yeah, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So this was really hard because I think you had some really strong episodes. I wasn't sure it was going to be Swamp Thing. Was going to be something from Swamp Thing, and I couldn't find one like specific thing that I thought was really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and say my winner for the week is Lobo. Just for that one scene alone of him blowing himself apart and then growing out of his own arm. I thought he killed it, and I thought, that was the highlight of the week. Which is why it's the winner of the week for me. Lobo.
That's a good choice. I mean, I always want to choose Lobo, but I'm going to go with, and I mentioned this when we talked about this in the episode, but swamp women in Swamp Thing. Those swamp women are good in a crisis. You show Abby a ghost and she's like, get out of here, ghost. You show Lucilia a blackmailer and she's going to be like, get out of here, blackmailer. You show Liz people attacking her in a parking lot. You know what she's going to say? She's going to say, get out of here. People attacking me in a parking lot. They are calm. They get things done. They don't panic. Swamp women get it done.
Cool. All right, Sarah, we did an episode. We're finished.
An episode under an hour, Edward.
All right.
I hope you and your family find barbecue on the 4th. I'm picturing you guys just get in a car aimlessly driving until you smell something good in a neighboring backyard and just pulling over and being like, hey, we brought our own table service. So I wish that for you. I hope that this works for you.
Yes. Just they better have Golden's mustard. That's all I care about. All right. That's the DCTV report for this week. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Edward O'Hare TBD.
And I'm at Sarah Netzley, SaraNetzley.
And follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast app of choice and rate and review us. That helps more people find us. Check out our sister shows, the Wicked Theory Podcast and Preacher vs. Preacher. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer, Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam!
Shazam!